This is the METS Postcast, your instant game reaction for the New York Mets. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
The New York Mets got the tying run to second base. They got a base knock that potentially tied the game, but a mistake by Carlos Mendoza doomed the Mets, and their offense once again was a major story. Welcome into the Mets Postcast here, the Locked On Mets YouTube channel, the Locked On Mets podcast feed. I'm your Postcast host, Chris Schubert, here with you after each and every Mets game throughout the course of the season. Let's jump right into it. It wasn't originally going to be the what we'll be talking about, but Carlos Mendoza made a major mistake, and it probably cost the Mets tonight.
This is what you'll be talking about.
I tend to be somebody who isn't overly critical of managers, and specifically Carlos Mendoza. Usually I'm able to at least see the thought process. I usually am able to understand why a decision was made, even if I don't necessarily agree with it. Case in point, I kind of defended Mike Sarbaugh and not sending Tyrone Taylor the other night against Cleveland. Understood why the decision was what it was. There is no excuse for Starling Marte to be standing on second base when that's the tying run in the ninth inning. When he hits that double and Jeff McNeil is up, you have Tyrone Taylor sitting on the bench as a pinch runner. He is easily the faster runner. You've already shown this week, earlier this week, you showed that in a game, in a spot, ninth inning, need a run, you will use Tyrone Taylor as a pinch runner. To me, him sitting on that bench, him not being utilized is just an oversight. And I hate to even make the accusation because I don't think it's true, but is it somebody who was just resigned to an offense that wasn't playing well tonight, a team that wasn't doing anything and expecting to lose? When you are going through a stretch the way the Mets are going through right now, with tonight's loss, it being 9 of 10 that they lost, you kind of expect bad things to happen to you. It can kind of feel that way at times. You're watching a game and you can expect bad things to happen to you as a baseball team. Tonight, in this moment in particular, the Mets let a bad thing happen to themselves because they chose to let the bad thing happen to themselves. Wasn't any baseball luck. They just didn't make the right decision. Carlos Mendoza has to have Tyrone Taylor out there as the pinch runner. It felt like somebody who didn't understand the moment, didn't understand that there's two outs and that's the tying run, and you have a speedy guy on the bench in Tyrone Taylor. I know we all love Starling Marte. Had a big day today. Hit one of the 2 home runs that got the Mets on the board. Hit that double with 2 outs in the ninth to even give us that chance because the Mets offense was completely anemic from the 4th inning on. It's just a gross oversight from the manager. It is just a gross oversight from Carlos Mendoza. And I know many of you probably disagree, but that's really the first major blunder I've seen from him this season. He's made some weird decisions. He's made some weird pinch hitting calls. He's made some weird lineup decisions. Managers are going to do that all year. This is obvious. This is almost as obvious as not putting Devin Williams in a game if you're Aaron Boone in a close spot for the Yankees. That happened tonight across town. I don't know what's gotten into the 2 New York teams. I don't know why Tyrone Taylor is not pinch running in the ninth inning in that spot once Marte gets on second base. I don't know if he's safe. I just know the Mets have a better chance if Tyrone Taylor is on second base and running. I know they have a better chance. I know that if it's a close play with Starling Marte, it's probably not a close play with Tyrone Taylor. So just a major mistake. And yeah, that's what we're focusing on here immediately the moment the game is over. But let's also talk about a Mets offense that once again remained broken tonight, that once again looked like one of the worst offenses in baseball. I mean, this was just another abysmal effort from this team. And I have pushed off calling this offense bad. I have said that there's too much talent on this team to say that they're bad and for them not to turn it around. Another game where they just go through large stretches of time where they do absolutely nothing. After Jeff McNeil's single in the 4th inning where they got a runner to second base, they did nothing in the 5th. They did nothing in the 6th. They did nothing in the 7th. They did nothing in the 8th. They were down to 2 outs in the 9th inning before Marte hit the opposite field double. This team goes, at least right now, but for a large chunk of the last month and a half, they are going through large stretches of games where they are giving you absolutely nothing. Brendan Nimmo, another 0 for tonight with 2 strikeouts. I mean, it was pretty easy. Brandon Woodruff had a super easy game plan tonight. He just threw a bunch of fastballs. And the New York Mets did not have an answer for it. They couldn't catch up. I know Soto and Marte both hit home runs, but other than that, they did nothing. And they had about as perfect of a start as you can get. They handed Kodai Senga a 1-0 lead. He protected it. They gave him a 2-0 lead. He protected it. And then all of a sudden in the 5th inning, since they didn't tack on any insurance runs, one mistake. One little miscue from Kodai Senga sends an inning into disarray. The Brewers are able to score 3, and it's over. That's it. Lights out. Turn the Mets off. It was done at that point. And it's just fascinating to watch this team, night in and night out, not make the adjustment. Brendan Woodruff doesn't throw 98, 99 anymore. It's 93, 94. Yeah, he throws a sinker to go with his 4-seam fastball, but he was pumping fastballs into the strike zone tonight. And the Mets didn't have an answer. Cedric Mullins was 0 for 3 tonight. He was 1 for 14 in a Mets uniform before tonight. Now 1 for 17 since getting traded to the New York Mets. So supposedly this big offensive upgrade that the Mets got at center field has 1 hit. Just a team that can't get out of their own way. And one mistake there in that 5th inning, the error that sets everything off. And Mark says one little mistake. He had he gave up the home run and walked 2 people. I get it, but that error snowballed the rest of the inning. That error is what set up the home run to be a game-tying home run instead of a home run that makes it 2-1. That's the difference. Those little things matter. They compound on themselves, and that's the thing that stopped Kodai Senga from continuing to have a good outing. Those first 4 innings, he was on pace to go 6, 7. We were finally going to get a starter that went 6 innings other than David Peterson. Well on our way to get there until that 5th inning. And it continues to be frustrating to watch this team not make the adjustment. Carlos Mendoza said it earlier this week. They're having trouble with the fastball. Basically gave the scouting report to Woodruff tonight. Is giving the opposing team the scouting report, and the Mets can't make the adjustment. And they got 2 solo home runs early. You're thinking that they're going to have a good night. That while not pretty, Senga's going to be good. They're going to do just enough offensively. They're going to get a lead. That's the one thing you like about this baseball team, is that if they somehow are able to get a lead, if they have a 2-0, 3-1 lead, and they can get it to this bullpen in the 7th inning, in the 6th inning, you feel like you got a chance. They weren't even able to do that. Just like they haven't been able to do it a whole bunch as of late. 9 of 10 they lost. And again, when bad things are happening to you, feels like they come in bunches, feels like you can't get out of your own way. And that's what happened in the 9th inning tonight. Just zero excuse for Tyrone Taylor to not be the pinch runner in that spot. And you let the bad stuff happen to you. I mean, that's just the ultimate example of letting the bad things happen to you. Much more for us to discuss. We can talk about the rest of this offense. We can talk about Juan Soto hitting a home run. We'll give you the turning point of the game, the other stuff to keep an eye on. We'll talk more about the decision to not pinch run for Starling Marte and Tyrone Taylor. We'll get to all of it. I'm at a loss for words. Truly, I am at a loss for words for this type of performance continuing and for what happened in the 9th inning. Because you're watching the game, you don't even expect them to get into that spot. And then they get into it, and it feels like Carlos Mendoza got caught off guard that the Mets were in that spot with a chance to tie the game with 1 hit. We'll get to all of it here on the other side. We've all been there, logging on early and waiting forever for concert tickets to go on sale, only to lose your spot for a show you've been dying to see. Live music should be about making memories, not dealing with the stress of ticket shopping. Well, that's where Game Time comes in. Game Time makes getting concert tickets faster and easier than ever. Prices actually drop as it gets closer to showtime, and you can save up to 60% off with their killer last-minute deals. Are you tired of endlessly scrolling to find the best deal? Game Time's got their zone deals that pick the best seats in your section for you. And if you're ever worrying or wondering about what your seat's going to look like, the app's going to show you a panoramic seat view so that there are no surprises. With Game Time, the price you see is the price you pay, no hidden fees. Worried about what happens if plans change? The Game Time guarantee has your back with cancellation protection and more. Take the guesswork out of buying concert and show tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the daily fantasy platform that lets you turn your football predictions into real rewards. Preseason is already heating up, and college football isn't far behind. The perfect time to lock in your season-long more or less picks for the 2025 football season, all before week 1 kicks off. Whether you've got your eye on big-name quarterbacks or breakout running backs, Prize Picks makes it easy to get in the game. Perhaps you want to get those season-long picks in for the New York teams, either one of the two in the New Jersey area, maybe the one up in Buffalo. You can make those season-long picks on Prize Picks. And it's simple. You can get your lineup in before your coffee finishes brewing, and preseason helps you get a feel for how the year could go. It's like that warm-up for the full season. The flex play option, total game changer. Even if one of your picks misses, you still double your money. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after you first $5 play. Prize Picks, run your game. Back here on the Mets Postcast, the Locked On Mets YouTube channel, the Locked On Mets podcast feed, recapping another Mets loss in which their offense struggles, another Mets loss in which their pitcher can't go 6 innings, another Mets loss where we can point to a defensive miscue that directly leads to a series of unfortunate events. If I'm able to quote the book series here, it's just unfathomable that these things continue to happen to this team. Now, I see some people talking about it in the chat, so I'm going to do the rare thing that we do here on the Postcast because I need to see. I need to look to the other monitor, and I need to see if there was an explanation as to why Tyrone Taylor didn't pinch run in the inning. I have not seen anything here in the quick search on social media, but perhaps I missed something and the quote will get out there. But just inexcusable to not pinch run for Starling Marte, who's not one of the best runners. I mean, I'll look really quickly, if you won't mind. I'll look at StatCast. We'll do some sprint speed analysis here because it can't be good for Starling Marte. I mean, he can't, at this age of his career, have elite speed. He's got 28th percentile sprint speed. Tyrone Taylor, what do we think? Everybody, put your guesses in the chat. Do we think it is more or less sprint speed percentile for Tyrone Taylor? Oh, would you look at that? 95th percentile sprint speed for Tyrone Taylor. I mean, what are we doing? I mean, this is one of the rare times where you just got to hammer Carlos Mendoza for this decision because the game's tied. The game is tied. We're still playing. We're not doing this postcast. We're watching Mets baseball still. It's just, and when you have a team right now that's struggling all across the board, right? We are struggling with pitchers going deep into games. We're struggling offensively. You can't mess those little things up. How often do we talk about on the postcast? How often do I mention? Probably until I am blue in the face, probably bothers a lot of you. I talk about the little things, about playing sound, solid defense, constructing a good lineup, making good in-game decisions with which relievers you go to, right? All of these things, doing the little things correctly. Tonight, the Mets didn't do the little things correctly, and when you are a team that is going through it, that's the nicest way to describe what's happening for the New York Mets right now. They are going through it. You cannot mess up the little things. You can't make that kind of mistake and have a guy with the 28th, 26th percentile sprint speed on second base instead of a guy on the bench. Tyrone Taylor right now, he has 2 uses for this baseball team. Can't hit. He's got 2 uses. He's a defensive replacement or he's a pinch runner. That's it. And in the 9th inning, we don't have a need for defense. We need offense. We get a runner on second base with 2 outs. With how much our offense is struggling, it feels like we need to put somebody on base to where if we get a single, if we get the hit that we need, we're able to score and send this game into extras. It's just an inexcusable decision. More on Kodai Senga, who I thought was the best he's looked since coming back from the injury. And again, was really cruising through the first 4 innings of this game. And the command wasn't all the way back. He still struggled. He still had a couple of walks early in this contest that were a little frustrating, especially in the first inning. He gets Sal Frelick and Contreras quickly, and then it's a 2-out walk that extends his inning. You hate those. You can't have those 2-out walks. It drives up your pitch count. And if you give up runs, the 2-out runs are just crushers for you. But comes back in the second with a 1-2-3 inning and then works around a leadoff double in the third. That was good. And then in the fourth, it was a 1-2-3 inning. I mean, Kodai Senga was pitching very well through those first 4 innings. So different from what we'd seen from him coming back from the injury. And then in the fifth, it was the E1. Turang hits the homer. In the next at bat, it's 2-2. He gets a pop out, the walk. He walks another batter. Then they bring in Brooks Raley, the hit by pitch. I know the 2 walks in that inning were brutal, but again, if he doesn't have the error, that's an out. If Turang hits the homer, it's 2-1. He gets Durbin to pop out. He's got 2 outs when they go to Raley. I mean, he could have been out of the inning. He very well could have been out of the inning. And Greg asks the most important question that I am still struggling. And this is why I have pushed against, and I don't know if he's in here tonight. I don't know if my good friend Red Bear is in here. But I have pushed against the idea of calling this team bad because bad to me means they don't have talent. But Greg says, with this talent, why are they so bad? Greg, if you can figure out that answer, if anybody can figure out that answer, let me know. Let Carlos Mendoza know. Let the Mets know because, I mean, we've got to figure it out. Because this team, they're just too talented to be struggling. Now, I'm not seeing the quote, but I am seeing SNY say, when asked, Carlos Mendoza says he did not consider pitch running Tyrone Taylor for Starling Marte in the 9th inning. And what's Tyrone Taylor doing on the team? If you're not putting Tyrone Taylor in for defense, his other skill set for you is a 95th percentile sprint speed. You're not going to use him in that spot? Again, you're struggling as a unit. Your entire offense is struggling. You don't know if you're going to get that hit. And we certainly don't know, especially in this game. McNeil had a hit in the 4th inning. They didn't get another hit until Marte's double in the 9th. So we've seen this offense go through large stretches of not being able to get a hit. So you might be able to get 1 hit, but are you going to be able to get 2 hits? Stack some hits back to back to drive in that run if you go station to station and you move Marte over to third. You need to put yourself in a position where if McNeil gets a hit, you are guaranteed to tie the game. And that's not with Starling Marte standing on second base. Now, I don't want that to overshadow this game. The Mets lost this game because they couldn't hit. The Mets lost this game because their offense continues to just go missing for stretches of time. The Mets lost this game because Kodai Senga had a meltdown inning and gave up 3 runs, and the Mets were unable to respond. That's what lost the Mets this game. The same stuff that's been losing Mets games day in and day out during this stretch of 9 of 10. That's what lost them this game. But you missed a chance to maybe claw some luck back, right? Anything to potentially get some energy into that dugout because you tie it up in that spot. I know it's not the same thing, but if you're Milwaukee, you got to be thinking they did it to us again. 2 outs, 9th inning in our own ballpark. This is exactly what happened the last time. They were able to come back. You can start to maybe put some doubt in that other dugout for a team that's playing some really good baseball, and you can put some energy into your dugout. And instead, the Mets gave that opportunity away. Just incredibly frustrating to watch this team tonight. Did I mention Brandon Nimmo struggled again tonight? Can't catch up to the fastball, is struggling against breaking pitches, is swinging and missing at more fastballs than he's had in the last couple of years. I mean, it's just brutal. And the other thing that's frustrating is I did a deep dive today, and this will be the last stop before we get out of here. I looked at the current batting averages for all the members of the Mets, and I looked at the expected batting averages. Then I looked at their slugging percentages and their expected slugging percentages just to kind of see, okay, we can be irrational and irrational. Let's be rational. Is there just some bad luck that the team is hitting into right now? Is there some positive regression that could be coming to a couple of bats? Like, is Brandon Nimmo just getting unlucky right now? And you look at what his batting average is compared to what his expected batting average is. Meaning, is he getting some bad luck? He's hitting the ball hard, but he's just getting hit right out people. Same thing with his slugging. Should he be having more extra base hits, but he's just hitting them right at people? And you look at the numbers, and his expected slugging and his real slugging are the same. His expected batting average and his current batting average are within a couple points. It's an approach problem. It's a swing decision problem. It's not a we're hitting into bad luck problem. Same goes for basically everybody in the lineup not named Juan Soto. Juan Soto does have a big difference between his current numbers and his expected numbers. So there does appear to be some positive regression for Juan Soto. But Juan Soto's the one guy that overall is keeping this offense afloat. He's the one guy that's keeping their numbers not from being in the cellar across baseball. Just a brutal, brutal stretch right now. And sure, the Mets are going to go at it tomorrow. Do we know? Has there been an announcement? I saw somebody in the chat mention that Hageman is going to be the starter tomorrow as the opener, and then we're going to go to Frankie Montas. Whether it's Montas starting and then Hageman after, or Hageman for the open and then Frankie Montas after, just sit down, watch the baseball game, and just assume that this is going to come down to whether or not the Mets offense hits. That's what this all comes down to right now. Just Mets, they didn't give one away tonight, but they gave away a chance to maybe create some of their own luck, and they gave away a chance to get some energy back into this ball club. And it's those types of moments, those types of nights that are really frustrating as a baseball fan. That is going to do it for us here on the Mets Postcast. Just another tough one for the Mets. They've now lost 5 in a row. They've lost 9 of their last 10, and they're still searching for answers. They're searching for answers offensively. They're searching for answers in their starting rotation. They're not going to have a starter go 6 innings tomorrow if Hageman is on the mound. So not going to get the 6 innings from their starter tomorrow if he's the guy who gets the call over Frankie Montas. We are back Sunday with a postcast. No postcast from me tomorrow. We are back here on Sunday to break things down in the finale of this series. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so that you are notified when we go live after the Mets conclude. If you're listening to us over in the podcast feed, you can join us live each and every time the Mets get done. We go live here on the Mets YouTube channel and break all of the action down. The Mets fall for the 5th straight time, 9 of their last 10, and it was a poor managerial decision in the 9th inning that stopped the Mets from forcing this game into extras. But the big line takeaway, the headline once again tomorrow morning in the newspapers, the Mets offense continues to struggle. Have a good one, Mets fans.